There's not one single slot machine left that'll spit your coins out, and it's everything that's wrong with this town. I feel my old ghost still kicking around the streets of this town. All the years you'd wagered for just one night of fun, place your bets, but then you fell asleep alone to the soft, relentless drum of an air conditioner that smelled like ancient cigarettes. There's not one lousy deal to be had, be it pussy or buffet, another dollar, gone are the days. There's no neon after dawn. It's enough to make you feel like dog shit baking on synthetic lawn, like $100 hand job with a condom on. All the years you'd wagered for just one night of fun, just one. There's not one single slot machine left that'll spit your coins out, and it's everything that's wrong with this world. Just think of all the sunken pearls in all the drunken girls. I don't mean to be profane, but in this place there's joy and pain, there's loss and gain. And through the endless haze of midnight beer and blunts, I can feel it reaching out. It's leaching out. I feel it all screeching out like heaven and hell at once. There's not one single slot machine left that'll spit your coins out.
All right, you're listening to Whitefish Community Radio, WCR Live. We are here with Nick Spear, the man you were just listening to the hour before we got started here for WCR Live. Nick, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And I just want to mention an event that you got coming up. You got the Singer-songwriter Circle with Mike Murray and David Walburn at the O'Shaughnessy Center, Thursday, November 10th, and tickets are $20.
Yeah, 7:30.
All right. So why don't you just go ahead and give us an introduction and tell us who Nick Spear is?
Do I have to refer to myself in the third person? Nick Spear. Nick Spear like scotch.
Scotch.
Singer-songwriter, obviously, from originally from San Diego, California, but it was never my scene, and so I'm here now, and actor by trade for a long time, and now just writing songs.
And I saw that you just recently visited Las Vegas, and that song was about Las Vegas.
Yeah, I just wrote it in the hotel room of Caesar's Palace. I grew up driving to Las Vegas, and it was always kind of my go-to thing to do if I had a free weekend, to drive at like 9 o'clock at night, and then I'd get there, 1 in the morning and see the lights. And just looking out at the lights from my room, I had this great view, and I was just like, wow, I remember that weird, lonely feeling. It's not as fun when you're old.
Right. And you played a few shows there. Can you tell us about the experience?
Actually, I didn't play a show there. I actually was hired to be an Elvis impersonator there.
Oh, okay. I misread that then.
Yeah. I was an Elvis impersonator for a corporate event along with 2 other Elvis impersonators, one of whom looked exactly like Elvis.
You would make a good Elvis impersonator. I was going to ask this later, but is that the reason you shaved your beard?
That is why I had to.
So how did you end up in the Valley? Did you grow up here? Or?
No, my mom and stepdad, they retired to Big Fork, and my wife and I kept coming up to visit, and every time we went back to San Diego, I was like, wow, I really miss Montana. And what is it? Is it Steinbeck? Somebody has that quote about Montana, about how with Montana it's love. You know it when you're in it. It's just such a great place here. So yeah, I moved up in 2007.
Okay.
and we've been here since then.
Nice. So what are some of your influences, and how would you describe your sound?
My influences for I'm in an '80s band too, the New Wave Time Trippers
Here in town, and it's a totally different set of influences as opposed to my songwriting, but it probably bleeds in. I'd say for my just folk stuff, it's definitely Leonard Cohen, probably first.
Bruce Cockburn.
A ton. Who else? Tons. As far as guitarists, I love Lindsey Buckingham from Fleetwood Mac. He's just a monster. I wish I had his right hand and his left hand and his bank account.
But yeah, it's interesting because most of the time when I get someone who says, "Hey, you sound like," and then fill in the blank, it's oddly some Canadian folk singer-songwriter, which is interesting. I just got this endorsement deal from this company that's based out in Czech Republic, playing their guitar, Stonebridge guitars. They're known as Furch in Europe. They're like the Taylor of Europe, but their headquarters is in Canada. And when the rep called me, he said, "Man, you sound just like Bruce Cockburn." And it's like the same stuff I always got, which is great. I have no problem sounding like them. It's a good thing.
How did you get your start playing music?
My dad and mom split up when I was 1. I can't even picture them together. My dad always played guitar. My mom always sang. My dad almost never sang, but always played guitar. And I grew up hearing acoustic guitar and listening to singing. And then kind of one day when my brother moved out, I went into my brother's old room and my mom's guitar that she had from the 60s when she was 16 was sitting there. And I think the first thing I learned to play on it was, it was some Def Leppard song. It was like Foolin', the beginning of Foolin' or something. And then I realized I didn't have it tuned. And so when I actually tuned the guitar, I didn't know anything. But I just taught myself, and I was 15, so 9th grade, a while ago.
Yeah, and so can you talk us through progression after you learned? I mean, what other instruments do you know? Were you in band?
Yeah, I was in a little garage band first out, and probably picked up an electric guitar too soon. I should have stuck with acoustic for longer. It would have served me better. But played in a garage band for years and was always in high school plays. And then ended up quitting my band and getting a degree in drama from San Diego State University, and was the guy who you put in the part that played the guitar. And ended up getting my Actors Equity card and working in San Diego a ton. Moved to New York, did some stuff there, did some stuff on the road, and was always kind of the guy who played guitar and could act. And then I never stopped playing guitar and writing songs, but I don't think I wrote good ones until like probably 7 years ago. Having a kid. I mean, that's when I say good ones. I'm saying when I go back and look back on a song, I can go, ew, or I can go, oh, wow. And when I go, oh, wow, it's pretty much from when my daughter was born.
And you talk about your mom being a singer and your dad playing guitar. How much do you think their influences kind of bleed into how you approach how you sing, like their voice?
I don't think it played much into how I sing, mainly because musical theater kind of beat that out of me. But as far as how I play, it's definitely influenced from the stuff I heard my dad play, fingerstyle stuff when I was growing up, for sure.
All right, and as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, you're going to be playing with Mike Murray and David Walburn at the O'Shaughnessy Center Thursday, November 10th, at the Songwriter Circle. First, can you talk about your relationship with Mike and David, who
Sure.
are both phenomenally talented, and then can you tell us about the event and what to expect?
Sure. I met Mike Murray at the Singer-songwriter Showdown that was sponsored by Northwest Artist Syndicate, and we were backstage, and we were both really nervous, which is weird because it's what we do. And we were like, and I just said, can we call it like a singer-songwriter sharedown? Because this showdown thing is freaking me out. And he said, thank you. It's wigging me out. Is it wigging you out? And I'm like, yeah.
and can we have like a songwriter circle? And then, so, my relationship with Mike started there and then grew. And I knew David Walburn in an auxiliary capacity through some work he did with Amazing Place, which was a DVD, spotlighting Montana, that I think they have at the airport still. And I realized as I was listening to Mike Murray's stuff, I was like, he's got this song about his daughter. And I'm like, I got a song about my daughter, which I think you were just playing. I heard Lullaby. And I have a political song. He's got a political song. And we were thinking, and he's like, hey, we should just do a songwriter circle like we talked about. And I said, yes. And we should all pick a category and each of us do songs from that category. And then he's like, what about David Walburn? And I was like, oh my God, yes, I love David Walburn. He's amazing. And what's really cool about it is there's going to be, I think, 6 categories, and we're each going to do our own particular take in that category, be it a road song or a song that references Montana, a song about kids, a song about God and death, a song about politics, although maybe not since it's happening on November 10th. And the serendipitous thing that happened is Mike's in his early 30s, I am in my early 40s, Dave's in his 50s, so we have this cool swath of ages, and it'll be interesting to see. It's sort of a musicology experiment. It'll be interesting to see like how each of us tackles the different subjects, and of course, it's all affected by your own personal experience, so they're going to be wildly different. So we're hoping to start this as a series, and we're only in the first one. Later on we could hopefully get like Brent Jameson or Dunnigan or Dixie Riddle or everybody who's a songwriter out there, Hal Nyquist.
Really cool idea.
Yeah, it was sort of the spawn of this feeling that while we make money playing in bars, a lot of the time we are background noise through no fault of the venue and no fault of the patrons. I mean, there's tons of time I walk into a place and I just want to get something to eat or a drink, and I didn't plan on listening to whoever's playing. Mm-hmm. Some people are there to hear you. Some people are there for another reason, and then they'll listen to you or they won't. But realize there isn't really a venue. Crush was able to do this when that was in business on certain nights. But there isn't really a venue where you can just tell everyone to be quiet and listen. There's no listening room, which Austin has and Nashville has, but we don't have.
That's definitely kind of a problem with the music scene. We definitely need that here. And there's the artist to support it. There just needs to be somebody to make it happen.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't want to lock a venue into doing that, but if you could have a venue that could do that, where tonight we're opening the doors up and it's going to be a rock show, and then the next night you're going to have like, Lyle Lovett unplugged. Although I don't know if we could get him here.
I think like you were talking earlier, as long as you put it in a separate room, I think that's kind of the key.
Yeah.
We were talking before the show about how to improve some music venues around here. So
for sure.
All right. That sounds like a fantastic event. I will definitely be there November 10th. Tickets are $20.
You can get them out on eventbrite.com or at the door. Either way.
All right. You want to play us another song?
Sure.
Right on.
We'll say this one's about space travel.
Farewell, my girl, farewell to wood and bone. I'm going away to sail these stars alone. Remember me to the summer fields that burn. In fate we'll see if you're old when I return. I'll just close my eyes to hold the phantom hand of memory and pretend pretend to kiss the girl you used to be. Don't let me go, no, no. I'm orbiting the edge of all I know, and I'm over the horizon line beyond reason or rhyme. Falling out of sight and out of mind. In the midnight time of mine, kiss me. In the midnight time of mine. Goodbye, my island. I'll take one long last look. My driftwood dreamboat is lashed with lines from long lost books, and every photograph I never took. Don't let me go, no, no. I'm still in orbit where the years go slow, and I'm over the horizon line beyond reason or rhyme. I'm out of sight and out of mind and out of time. In the midnight time of mine, kiss me. In the midnight time of mine, kiss me. Don't let me go, no, no. Well, I'm stuck up here in orbit with you stuck down below, under the fading afterglow. Don't let me go, no, no. Well, I wish I could have stayed to watch you glow, but I'm over your horizon line beyond reason or rhyme, and I think I might have finally lost my mind. In the midnight time of mine, kiss me. In the midnight time of mine, kiss me.
All right, you're listening to Whitefish Community Radio. We are in the studio here with Nick Spear. Nick, in 2012, you released what I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, was your debut album, A River Below, your solo album.
Correct.
Can you talk about what the album is about in the process to create the album? That was 4 or 5 years ago now. So, but and I also you can follow it up with what you think about the album now that it's been that long.
The album was this weird. The farther I get from it, it was this strange, indirect and direct product of having a child and realizing, to put it bluntly, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna be here the whole time. That was most of it, and something clicked. I'd always written songs. But like I said earlier, I'd never felt like I'd written songs that stood up and that I could go back and review them and go, yeah, that still moves me. That still feels honest and true. And that one is an exception. Every song on there, I had one song pre-existing before the kind of writing binge that happened for that album. The song that I already had before then was Eastbound Train. But everything else was just this flood of, just creativity and not feeling like I had to follow rules of songwriting and this kind of
penny dropped of like, you don't have to write a pop song. I mean, I write pop songs. I can write them and put them on the radio, and they'll sound good, but it's formulaic, and there's something about just finding something organic that feels right that has this huge payoff, I think. What I think about the album now is, as far as like a production level, I think the opening track, Boulder Overlook, sounds amazing. I think everything else does not sound nearly as good as it. It's because I recorded the whole thing myself, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I still don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to recording. But there's things that I could have done to produce it more, to make them more like, well, I can make this fresher, and I can not bore the listener by doing the exact same thing and the same melody again. But part of me just wanted it to be raw and about the song. But what's interesting, I think, in art, and Julie Taymor talks about this, who directed Lion King and Titus and a bunch of stuff, that the telling of the story becomes as important as the story itself. And I had much more emphasis on that album with the story itself than the telling of it. It was very stripped down. So if I could do it over again, I don't know that I would change it. There's certainly things I could do to it to make it more, I don't know, more whistles and bells. But I kind of like how raw it is. I mean, I have enough songs now to start to do like a double album, but I kind of hit this point and I'm like, what do you do with it?
Right.
And I sort of realized at this point that recorded music has become something of a civic duty. And every songwriter I know, no matter how good they are, they have, boxes and boxes of CDs. And it's like, what do you do with them? They don't even make computers with CD drives in them anymore. I mean, last year was the first year that streaming surpassed digital downloads. So you can't even really buy songs on the internet. I mean, you can, but it doesn't happen as much. And so my latest project, which I brought you the record of, I decided to make a 12-inch vinyl single to commemorate the mining disaster, the centennial of the mining disaster in Butte, which is next year, because I thought if I'm not going to make money, at least I can make it matter. So that's what I did instead.
And that was going to be one of my later questions, but we'll skip ahead to that real quick. You put two songs on there, Tapper Light and Mountain Snow Valley Rain. Can you talk about the decision to use those songs? You said you have, a couple dozen songs that you could have in your repertoire. Can you tell us about those songs?
Yeah, Tapper Light. I watched the documentary Butte America, which if you haven't seen, is amazing. And I saw that and thought, oh my God, I got to write a song about Butte. And then I kind of went, dude, really? A song about like the entirety of Butte, like the entire history, like from everything? And I said, well, that's ridiculous. I should probably zoom in on one particular thing. And the thing that stuck out to me that was the most moving about the documentary were the letters that miners wrote to their loved ones as they were asphyxiating in the mine. I know that's really grisly, but they're really moving, and it was really moving. And I thought I should write about that. And then I got on this weird trip where I'm like, it needs to be more microscopic than that. It can't just be about that event. It needs to be about one person, even if I make them up. And so the person that it's about is sort of this hybrid of an actual person, Manus Dugan, who wrote a letter that stood out to me. And the strange thing is, 2 years ago, I played at the memorial in Butte, the 98th anniversary of this event, and Manus Dugan's grandson was there. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, every gig I've ever done where someone said, hey, play Jimmy Buffett, did not matter when I was playing at the memorial for the grandson of the person who wrote this letter that inspired the song. It was just like the best payoff in the world. Yeah. And it just, like I said, I want it to matter, and so the record is, you can get it from me, or you can get it from Headframe Spirits in Butte. And that's the only place I'm selling it. I'm not going to sell it online. You can get it through their website online, but I kind of love the idea of having to go to a place to, be there. You have to be there. In this world of being locked in your phones and being anywhere you want to be, it's like, no, go there. And I know I'm nobody. It's not like Bruce Springsteen drops an album and you have to go to Asbury Park to pick it up.
but it feels right. And it was the only way I could do it to not feel like I was being opportunistic about a tragedy, to write the song and sell this product based on it. And you know, at the upshot is, even if I sell all these copies, I'll never make my money back.
Right.
And then the B-side, Mountain Snow Valley Rain, was just something that seemed to fit stylistically. I liked the idea of the disaster was in 1917, and I liked the idea of something that sounded like it could have been also from that time period. So yeah, 2 songs.
Awesome. Well, it's fantastic, and thank you for kind of explaining that, because when I first saw that you were only selling it there, I was kind of confused. I didn't really know why you were doing that, but that's. I wish more people would do stuff like that, because
Thanks.
you're kind of right. It does, in this age where everything is so instantly accessible, to have something that you have to actually work. You know, if you put that in your collection, you knew that you had to do some work.
Right.
Except when you just bring it to me, like you did today.
Except for that. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So you seem to draw a lot of inspiration from your surroundings, and we certainly live in a wonderful place for that. Can you talk about living here in Northwest Montana and how it influences your music?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Mountain Snow Valley Rain, the song we were just talking about, that's the B-side of that single. It was absolutely, I was coming back, and absolutely inspired by Montana. I was coming back from the Crown of the Continent Guitar Festival, which was a great deal, and I was fortunate enough to be a scholarship recipient 2 years in a row. And I was driving back, and I saw this tree, and it was bright yellow, and no other trees were bright yellow. And I was like, wow, first tree to turn. And I thought, that's a good opening line. And then it took me a long time because the guitar work on that track, I had that basic tune for a long time. And it was even used in an independent film by a friend, Mickey Fisher. He used it in one of his films, and then it was just instrumental. And then I thought, I'm going to put lyrics to it. My wife's like, I don't know, you should. It's so good just by itself. Don't put lyrics to it. And I thought, well, then I better put really good lyrics to it. Don't ruin this. Don't screw this up, Spear. But yeah, I'm very affected by my surroundings. I mean, I am and I'm not. It depends on the song. Sometimes it's about something totally political or something like a movie I saw, and it has nothing to do with anything. But being in Las Vegas and writing that song in, I think the first song that I played on the show here today, I looked out at the city lights at night from my hotel room. Sun went down, sun came up, and I saw how ugly Vegas is in the day. And I finished it, and it's like, I wouldn't have written that song if I wasn't there. So yeah, I guess I am really affected by that.
And you talked real quick about. I meant to ask this after you talked about the Butte song.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about Vincent's screenplay? And
yes.
It would be great if you could get that song, and
yes.
if he eventually gets that movie made, Copper City Burning.
Yeah, Vinny sent it to me. It's awesome, and I'm so bad. He sent it to me like a year ago, and I still haven't read the whole thing. But I read the beginning of it, and I love the whole vibe, that whole story, and that whole period and point in time is a great thing to write about. So yeah, he's like, yeah. Make an HBO series and have that be the opening song. And I was like, totally, dude. I'm so into Butte. It's such an underdog. Butte is such an underdog. And you go there and there's such a sense of energy and forward motion, and Headframe Spirits is a prime example. They're like a force of nature. I mean, they're slowly taking over the world in the best way. If you're not familiar with that,
No, I'm not.
that company, they make amazing booze, but they're making distillery equipment. They've taken over the old Kelly Mine warehouse, which is right at the base of this head frame, and it's this massive complex. And they're just super dedicated to Montana history and heritage, and Butte history and heritage, and the future of Montana. And they're fully invested in the now of Montana, and I just love that, which is why I wanted to sell it
sell it there. And if you look at the center label of the record I just made, it says Headframe Spirits around the center, because I was like, that was my point to begin with, is I need to find a place that is all about this kind of thing.
So I want to talk a little bit about your acting career. Okay. And you've acted locally in dozens of productions in various theater organizations in the Valley. And you talked a little bit about, I'm not familiar with your time in San Diego, but as a performing, how is acting on stage different from playing music? If you can kind of talk about those differences that you feel when you're performing on stage as an actor versus as a musician.
You know, my opinion on that changes daily. I mean, when I stopped acting originally, way back when, I was like, oh, it feels like I'm just lying, not really being myself. I'm pretending. I want to do something that feels real. But now the more I write songs and perform the songs, the more I realize there is a creative process, and the creative process is writing the song. The creative process is rehearsing the play and finding the beats in the scene and the moments, and the rest of it is reproduction. You're reproducing the scene or the song for people. And so I think they're closer to each other than I've admitted until very recently. People need, they need the info. I could sing by myself forever in a vacuum, but it's about communication. And if the point is communicating, you need to be able to communicate that as best you can. But when you're doing your own material in a song, there's also this feeling of, well, I don't want this to feel disingenuous and like I'm performing it for you, but at the same time, you are performing it for them because it's something you've already created and you're recreating it. So I think they're close. They're pretty closely tied, and I wouldn't have said that 2 years ago.
And you mentioned the songwriting process. Can you just talk a little bit about how you approach it?
I don't know. Usually it's like I'll get a feel or a groove or a word.
Or see a tree, a yellow tree.
See a yellow tree. Hear a song that's a lot of times. I mean, when I wrote my song, The West on Fire, which I think I have it's on YouTube. Total political song, but I tried to not make it right or left, because if you make it super left, the right won't listen to you. If you make it super right, the left won't hear it. So down the middle and try to find the truth of everything, really. But the guitar work on that was a product of me wishing that I knew how to play If I Had a Rocket Launcher by Bruce Cockburn, which is like such an amazing, and I was trying to figure it out, and I'm like, God, why can't I just write a song that has like that kind of rhythmic feel? Why is it always so dreamy and morose and slow? So sometimes listening to a song can do it, Good, what is it? Good artists borrow, great artists steal. It's totally stolen. Everything I do is stolen.
Yeah, when I put people on the spot with that question, I usually get, I don't know. It just comes to me. I just write the song.
I'm kind of obsessed with that question, though. I ask myself that all the time. Where does it all come from, and why do you do it, and yeah.
So let's play one more song, and we'll
Sure.
come back, and I got a few more questions for you.
Can I use you for one night for the sole and selfish reason of trying to make believe I'm younger? No need to change the subject. I know this wanderlust is tied to my addiction to endless hunger. I'm just in love with being in love, but I don't wanna run away. I'm just trying to make this feeling stay. It's like stepping out into the Milky Way. It's like stepping out into the Milky Way. Can I use you for one night for my not so secret plan to imagine I'm a different person. No need to skirt the issue. I'm well aware that this condition makes me prone to hallucination. I'm just in love with being in love. And I could wander for years and never find another quite like you. You're just the cream in my coffee, the tiger at the zoo. I wanna jump in your cage and let you rip my body in two. I wanna tie you to trees in summer woods to ring your little bell until you scream where no one can hear us yell. I know it's criminal and creepy, but I already told you I'm not well. We could blow off last month's rent. We'll sleep in cars and borrowed tents and fashion wings to fly from onion skins. You make me feel like the safe, soft smell from neighbors' laundry vans in a town we could pretend we grew up in. Trying to make this feeling stay. It's like stepping out into the Milky Way. It's like stepping out into the Milky Way. Stepping out. So can I use you for one night to get strung out on a feeling, staring at the popcorn ceiling, a love song in the moon, I'm a needle and spoon. I'm not in love, I'm just tripping out on starlight rays. I'm just strung out on the Milky Way. I'm strong.